somewhere around there. It's 11 on the dot. Good.
There we go. They don't have to all sit. What did you just say? Everybody's up front, so I have Michelle.
Make sure you've checked in with Michelle, because we have to keep a record of who is here for our minutes that gets stored in our storage somewhere on cyberspace, so that we have actually. Yes, live is fine. Yes, thank you. And this is being live streamed and recorded. If anybody wants to go back and look at it again, they can. So, yeah.
Okay, well, welcome. I think that what we have is some introductions. Everyone knows everyone, I bet, but we still want to let you know who the board is and our wonderful High Watch her back from her trip. So we have Deb Valentina here, and we have Roseanne Jones. We have Michelle LeMay, and we have Reverend Diane. And is there anybody else that's going? We have, you know who we are. So we just want the board to be up here too. And then what we do in these kind of meetings, we have Reverend Diane, who's our staff minister. She just keeps the wonderful high watch as we conduct our business. This is a little more formal than, well, kind of more formal than we are used to probably, but we do this once a year. And so without any more introductions, shall we pray in?
Let's all just take a breath together. And knowing that each one of us is here because of the one life, the one power, the one presence that is living in and through each one of us. It is showing up as life. It is showing up as peace. It is showing up as beauty and great joy. I give thanks that this divine presence is moving each one of us in a way that is indeed magnificent. The life of God is living us as this community. And so I give thanks that this annual business meeting is an amazing accomplishment in the mind of God. As this center grows and thrives, we have so much good news to share with the community that I know that this is an empowering and enlightening and a joy-filled, amazing day. And so we get to spend this time together thinking about all the good that has transpired last year and releasing it into the new year to continue our expansion, to continue our growth in consciousness, to continue who and what Centers for Spiritual Living is on Kauai and in the world. And so I give thanks that this is already known in the mind of God. I simply release my word knowing that it is already unfolding in all of its perfection. And I give thanks for it. And I allow each word to be spoken with grace and ease. I allow each question to be asked with love and with peace. And I give thanks that that is already done. So I release my word to the law of mind, the universal law that takes my word and brings it about in the most right and perfect way for each one of us here today. And together we simply say, and so it is.
It is.
Mahalo.
Thank you for that.
Okay, just a couple of things. It'll probably be a fairly short meeting, or well, I guess we shouldn't say that right at the top of it. But a couple of things. I want to make one thing clear about this member, non-member, and the rules that go with that. Just that there's not a separation in our family unit, as you well know, but there is something that goes with the commitment of being a member, and also we are also an organization that's not just CSL Kauai. These are the rules and the boundaries that go across all of them. So when we come in here, it's about voting. You need to be a member to vote and to really participate in the full spectrum and the conversation. But what I'm really happy to see is that people that are not, have not decided to be members here, because we already know your dedication to us and to our family here. So I just want to get that out. And as far as questions, you need to write them down because they're going to be all put in at the end. So if anything comes up for you, we have clipboards and if you have something, or you can write on your.
Does
your
anybody want a clipboard to take notes? Right.
Especially if something comes up like a question, because we're going to field them all at the same time.
Yeah, because otherwise, if we keep stopping every
Yeah.
time we say something, we'll be here all
Yeah,
day.
we learned from many, many moons ago that if you answer questions as you go along, then that's when people go, oh, it lasts so long.
And also because it might be something that we cover later, and then you've asked, you get
yeah,
it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
There are pens here if you need.
Okay, so before we start our 2017, we're going to go through a little review of it. Before we do that, I just want to say one thing for people that might be new or might be new members is that this center was founded in 2013, but we didn't have a complete year in 2013, but it was founded in 2013. And as we're reviewing this information, I just like to say I'm really excited and really proud of where we've come to, because we started this center really with nothing besides principle and an organization behind us, but not assisting us in any way financially. We just started with principle, basically a business plan and a deep belief in this teaching. So when I look back at that and realize we're only in year 5, I go, wow, we've really come a long way. And I also want to give gratitude for the Board of Trustees that we have. And the two that are not here are Joan and Richard Morgan, who live off island, and they have been with us since the very, very beginning. They were mentors of ours when we first came into this philosophy. And their term's going to be up soon, but they still are active members in consciousness and ideas and attend every board meeting that we have. They Zoom in. So I wanted to mention them too. So, yeah. So do you want to start this, or?
No, I think it's
Oh, okay.
Rita in review.
So we just wanted to talk a little bit about where we've been this year, 2017. And we have this sacred journey. That year was our 4th sacred journey, our 5th. It was our 5th sacred journey, I guess. No, 4th. And these sacred journeys continue to grow. They're fundraisers for our center, and they also bring people from all over the world. And they've been continuing to grow. And this was actually the first year we had a waiting list for it, which we're very proud of. Yeah, it was really good. It means the word is getting out. And our average attendance at service has increased to 80 to 100 people on a Sunday, which, wow. I mean, when we first started, we had like 24 people, I think. And our class attendance is increasing. And especially we're noticing it's increasing now even more. This year is the 100th year of Center for Spiritual Living, our Science of Mind. And we're feeling that just impetus to just bring the teaching forward. And classes are increasing. Spiritual cinema we installed last year, and we feel that it's really been an assistance to helping people come into the center that maybe don't want to come on a Sunday, and people that just want to know what we're about and they're too scared or whatever. And it's been very well attended. I mean, really well attended, spiritual cinema. And we had a youth open house this year, which really, it just goes to show when you put something into action, because we kind of been sitting there waiting for kids to come. But as soon as we had that open house, and we thank Janice for that and George, as soon as we did that, it just like opened the channel, and it was like, oh, they are here. And our kids program has really increased. And then we also received a grant this year for kids, and we weren't very successful in getting it launched with for some reason, I don't know why. But we've tried for like almost over a year to get teenagers in here in a theater program. But as soon as we changed the age to 9 through 12, the phone's been ringing. So so it all came from that open house and a wonderful grant that we got from the Stanley Foundation. And that's an outreach program because it's free and it's to the community. It's not about this teaching. It's just about having fun with kids and the arts. So if you know some more kids, we're only going to take 12 for the first 8 weeks. And then the other thing that we're very happy about is that we're finally having people understand more about what spiritual mind treatment is and making our practitioners more visible. And people are actually coming up after service to ask for treatment. And that's a really huge deal to us. So we're very excited about that. And the healing circles that we've had have been very well attended. So we feel like we're getting that idea out that this is a healing philosophy. It's not just about a bunch of words and us getting together on Sunday, which is all important, but it's also a healing philosophy and teaching. And we actually graduated 3 practitioners last year, which is wonderful. And that was Roseanne and Malia and Rob. And this year, we're going to graduate 2 more practitioners, and we are going to start another accredited class this year and start that ball going again.
And we also, on that note, we have a lot of, I don't know if it's going to come up, but we have a lot of people that are members that are off island, and they come on for 3 months, come here for 3 months, 2 months, 6 months. But we also have practitioners that are members too, and that are moving here like in the next year or so. So they're also on our ministry of prayer, and like Richard and all of them, they're going to be moving here. So we are definitely, I'm going to say it again, definitely a global community. We are right here and building here, but we are really building off of this island, and people are really wanting to participate in whatever they're feeling is going on here on this island.
Right. And then thanks to Rob and Jonathan, who have assisted us, and wonderful donations we've gotten. We've been able to improve our sound and our live streaming, and that was a huge thing for us to be able to do, because like Patrick said, people are watching us offline. It is definitely happening, and it really helps to have them not getting cut out every 2 seconds or every 5 minutes or whatever, because our internet was not strong enough, and the sound and all of that. So we're really grateful for that. And thanks to our beautification team and all of us, we changed the layout of the room, which we think made a really big difference in being able to utilize the room in a better way and fit more people in here. So that was good. And we also began the Malama team, which was basically a welcome team, but we called it the Malama team, which I think means to nurture and to do that. So that's been really helping a lot. We did it to increase people feeling welcomed here, but also to help us to increase our membership, because one of our goals was to increase our membership. And we started Bring Your Friends Sundays and Rap with the Revs, which has been which people stay.
Really
we
well.
usually have anywhere from 15 to 20 people stay for that. I feel
that's
that's really,
huge.
people love to sit around and talk about their spiritual journey. And I think, I know we've been a stronger presence in the community. People know who we are now. We're active in the Interfaith Roundtable, the Lidgate cleanup, different things like that. Patrick and I did outreach to Pu'ukuma School. And then our tithing program has really, I think, we put aside 10% of the donations that come in, and we give them back out. And like this year, we gave to certain groups. This is just some of them: Hindu Monastery, Interfaith Roundtable, Family and Child Services, Friends of Kamalani, Healing Horses, Center for Spiritual Living. They're our regular tithe that we give into the international organization. The Lawai Center, we were able to give to like different GoFundMes that were like in desperate need at that moment, and we were like, okay, they're in desperate need at that moment, and so we were able to do that. And the Kaua'i Food Bank and other ones, but we can do that because we believe in the principle of tithing. And we don't have to go hunting for the money. It's there because we take it out as soon as it comes in on Sunday. We take that money out, whatever 10% of that is, and we put it aside in our account so that when something comes up, we have it. And
that's a practice that we
personally do too.
With. And even in businesses, sometimes that looks a little shaky when you're not meeting other maybe needs or paying the ministers or whatever the thing is. But I believe it's because we stayed very true to that and never let up on it for 1 minute, that 10% would never be kept in this center. 10% would go out into the world. And I believe that is a part of why we are thriving and starting to thrive even more because of that decision.
Right. And then our bookstore is thriving right now, doing really well. And we feel like that's progressing. And our fundraisers and social events that we've had, thanks to the wonderful volunteers here that help us with that, and the people that come to it, the Sacred Journey being one of them, that takes a lot of manpower, and the people that work on that are very dedicated, and obviously it's shown up as success. And we did a cabaret 2 years in a row last year, and they've both been really successful fundraisers. And we've even done clothes swaps, which have been fun, and just ways of bringing community together. So, and our women's Christmas holiday social, little things like that. So I think that's really helpful. Bowling, I know they're going to do a bowling now. They those guys, they're just like one little step behind us. It's okay. No, no. All right.
Maybe we should read Joe's book.
Okay. All right, so, yeah.
Just a couple of things on membership, too. Why membership is important. It's important for two reasons. One is because we believe strongly in this science of mind and spirit getting out into the world. So the more people that are loving themselves, the more loving world we have. That's the first one. The second one is, as you start to grow, we are required, in order for this to happen, we need to have this happening to back that. As much as we all love to do everything we do, that's a biggie. That's a biggie for us to make sure that we build a consciousness, and that means more people. More people because of members? No, more people just because that is the more that we're getting out into the community from that. And
That's a good
yes.
segue for you.
Yeah, it is. So we were saying this is 100 years of science of mind. The other thing that is very exciting for us, and it's taken some time, the evolution of this center has been, when you first come to an island and you don't know anyone, people have to trust you. I've seen it in other places when I've started things in other on the mainland. It takes people a while before they trust you. We were in year 3 and people were kind of going, okay, maybe they're going to stay. Because people are not, it's just unfortunately, it's a part of the nature that we want to make sure that what people are up. And first of all, when we come in, we go, what is that? Are they a cult? Are they this? Whatever, you know. And so we're still here 5 years later. And it's so nice to say we were looking for a place to live. And the person said, I said, we have a 5-year lease. I guess we're meant to stay here, you know. So 100 years of science of mind and the teaching is getting out. That is why we came here. Yes, for community, but also to introduce this teaching that we feel is so powerful for your individual lives. This year of 2018, we're already started. We're increasing more classes, workshops. We're learning, because this island is different than other places, as far as you learn that you need to do 3 weeks and not past 8 and blah blah. You know, there's a whole little vibe here that we are working with and learning from. One thing I will admit to you and tell you that Kauai, you know, they say it's Kaua'i time. That I learned when I first came here, and I would start a class at 6, and everybody came in around 6:20ish. I am proud to say that we've all learned to align on the same time. Because my idea up in Princeville, I remember they go, oh, Kaua'i time, don't worry about it, Reverend Patrick. I went, oh, but it's my time. I've been here for the last 20 minutes. So, and then at the end of it, everyone would be like, oh, we can stay. No, Rita and I, one thing about us is that we start on time as the best we can, and we end on time. So, our practitioners are expanding, as Rita said. This is our 2018 for our expansion. So we want more of that, more of that. Continue to find ways to support the community. That's now, a lot of people said, you're not as much out in the community. Well, I always say we must get our foundation at home before we can. So all we could be able to do in the beginning was to give a tithe out so that there was some financial assistance to our community. Now we're getting out more and more and becoming a presence in our community, which I love. Well, you can speak too. You
I
can-
guess I can. Yeah. No, I was just going to say
Oh,
also that we want to be able to be more of a help in times of crisis, and so we're looking for ways to expand that this year. We've done things, but I think we could do more in that area. You know,
When
with
things happen in our
meditations
world,
and
these
healing
doors should be
circles,
open.
meditation, healing circles, dialogue circles, things like that, where people can come and feel like they have some place where they can
Right. We
just
did
be
it
supported.
we did it at the election, the lovely 2000, whatever that was. I don't know, it's a blur to my mind right now. But we created a space here from the polling times opening to polling times closing so that people could come in and, you know, just be somewhere that felt safe and that they could cry and then cry and then cry some more. Continue to expand. Our youth is really important to us. And we've been very patient, and Janice, she's not here, and George. So thank you so much, because it takes patience to sit here when nobody's coming. We know that about even opening up a center. You open up the door and you don't know if anyone's going to walk through it. That's what they've done. She sat for almost a year or more with nobody coming on Sunday. No kids, no kids. One here, one there. And she stayed in that consciousness. And I just went, wow. And now you can see there'll come a time when the whole stage will be, this whole front will be filled over there. Third year, then the volunteer, and we also need mentors and volunteers for the kids. Not on a, you don't have to do it every week, but just on this idea of coming in and helping there. And a
We need more people to step up in that area, basically, so it's not all on George and Janice's shoulders. And also, I mean, they run the program, but in reality, they should have another person in there every Sunday. I mean, it would be really nice, and it would be something that you don't have to do all the time. People don't, you can do it every 6 weeks, and it would be helpful. So.
And this year, I know for me, I've been a volunteer coordinator, and Rita has been one before we got into this. I was a youth minister for 5 years. Volunteer coordinator is pretty much a must. We don't have one. We've never really had a full-blown volunteer coordinator, but we know how important it is. I work a lot in that area. Rita works. We all worked on the volunteer, but you need somebody really that's their only focus, as far as a volunteer to go, we need this, we need that, and we do really well, but I do know that, what do you call it, critical mass? That we're in critical mass, and that next step we're going to really need to find a volunteer coordinator. Third year in this building, we intend to now start doing the visioning. We've been here, this is our third year, but as we all know, it happens very quickly. So at the end of 5 years, we have to continue on here or find a new place. To be quite honest with you, I've met the new owner, and he's a wonderful man. He's not exactly thrilled that we have such a fairly decent, wonderful deal here. And I don't know what he'll do, but I know that he's not my boss, Spirit is. So I'm not really worried about any of that. But that is coming up. So we're going to start a visioning process, coming in and visioning for our next step, as I keep pointing over there.
Yeah, whether our next step is this or our next step is some interim step, it might be staying here. I don't know. We'll see. I know that we'll know.
And
soon.
And we are going to start something, because we really feel the need for it, called Aging to Saging. And that's aging, I don't care how old you are, Malia will grow someday into somebody older than she is right now. And so I believe aging to saging. There's a lot.
It's based on a book.
And so just to start implementing that, to know that we are secure as a community as we grow in our consciousness and we grow in our bodies. It's nice to know that there's a place for us to remember who we are, no matter as we start to get older. And I think that's one of the things. Rima, who's the practitioner that's just got on island, she was talking about what she didn't like about youth groups was that they separated from the older people. They started doing their own thing, and then it was Wednesday nights was this, and she said, you miss out on a lot when we don't share ourselves. I mean, when I see the kids running up to George and hugging him, and then people wanting to learn, we need to learn from one another, and that's a big thing for us in this center. And new and creative fundraisers. We don't do we do about 2 or 3 a year. The 2 we have usually is around our birthday in July, and then the Sacred Journey. I come from Catholicism, where every other basket is passed for something new that we need. We have a wonderful community here, that there are certain people we just have to say, we need this or we need that, and it does happen. But I just want you to know that it's about not having a fundraiser every other week, because everything that comes into this center is a fundraiser. Everything's a fundraiser. There's no grants special grants that come in to support this center. There you go.
Yeah, we were going to. We'll do that later. No, we'll do it later.
Okay, we're going to address the question and answer, but
Yeah. So this is the exciting part. We get to do the financial review. So in order to do that, yeah. Okay, these need to get passed out, Michelle. And we're going to do the back side first, the little short side. And I have some for these guys up here somewhere. Or at least I did. I need 5. I need some for these people. Michelle, make sure that these people get it. These people, the board has one. I thought, oh, you know what? I have it. I knew I had it somewhere.
You made extras.
Yeah, I made extras for them. I think we have plenty because I don't think.
Does everybody have one? If you don't have one, please raise.
Patrick, you need one?
I have one.
Okay. Okay. So you're going to go first. Okay. And again, hold your questions till the end, okay?
All right, so I have the privilege of talking about our growth over the last 4 going on 5 years. So what I want you to do is actually turn to the smaller part that says year-to-year income and expense comparison. And so we had the idea to really look at our growth. So 2014 was the first full year of operations for Center for Spiritual Living. And so as you can see, the total income from 2014 to 2017 has grown each year. So it's gone from 112,000 all the way up to this past year, 164,400. And so this is a beautiful story to tell because it's been consistent growth for 4 years, and we fully expect, and it is happening for the first 2 months of 2018. Of course, the expenses also go up as well. And that's to be expected. And so what I want to say about this is for all the activities that the reverends just mentioned for 2017, that was all done for $164,000. That's from my perspective, a very, very lean budget and really pretty miraculous that all that's been done with $164,000. So that's that piece. And then I want you to go below. And I thought that it would be important for all of us to, as a congregation, to see what we're paying in terms of the Reverend's compensation package. And so in 2014, we paid, so the total compensation package for both Reverends is $78,800. And that is consistent for 2014 through now. And so you can see how much was paid to the reverends. Again, this is, so the $32,300 is for both of them in 2014, up to 2017, where 80% of the compensation package was paid. And the great news is that in 2018, the first 2 months, to date, 100% of the compensation package has been paid for the reverends, which is hallelujah that we are doing that, and we know that we will continue to do that. And that's what we anticipate. So this is a story of growth and thriving and health. So that's what I want to leave you with.
Thank you, Deborah. Yeah, it's awesome, right? So if you turn over to the back, you can see how we've spent the money this last year, the things that it's gone to, and how it's been allocated. And what's interesting to me is what Deborah said. We did all of that stuff for this amount of money. So Yeah, so I don't know if I should go through each item. I don't think it's necessary. I think you can look it over now, and if you, and in a moment, we will ask questions about it if we should want to. I know one thing that might stand out is how much we spend on website and internet, and that is because of the live streaming, and we've had to upgrade our internet. We use this, a system called Ustream that charges us a certain amount every month. We use Zoom. We have different things. You know, it includes anything we do on the internet. That figure there, and let's see. And then you might be asking about the personnel. That includes everybody. That includes the people we pay for music. It includes class instructors. It includes everything, not just the minister's salary. And let's see what else. Yeah. And then in 2018, we basically based that on our budget on what we spent in 2017, but also on like the first 2 months. We kind of took an average of the first 2 months, January and February, and we kind of used that as our basis. Budgets are really hard for me because, and for some of us, because we have like I hate putting a limit on stuff, and I hate saying, oh, this is what we're going to bring in. And to tell you the truth, we've done really well. Having the budget there, but also knowing that we're going to go beyond that budget. Like we say, oh, we're going to bring in 191,000 next year, but I'm knowing that the sky's the limit. So it's that or better, you know what I'm saying there. And then the other thing is that Deb and I were talking about this on the board, is that when you look at the net income, you got to understand that we're not trying to make money. Does that make sense? We're a nonprofit. Our goal is not to make a lot of money. Our goal is to have a lot of events and pay for them and be able to compensate the ministers and do the whole thing to support the center. It's not here that when we look at that bottom line at the end, we don't want to be in the red for sure. But we're not here to say that bottom line. If we have all that money there, unless we have an endowment or something, which we don't, then what are we doing with that money that's sitting there, right? So it usually bleeds over into the next year. So, did I cover everything, Deb?
Yes.
Do you have anything else that I need to
no.
say? So, yeah, I feel, and I know we all do, feel really good about this, and very grateful for the abundance of donations and people that actually will reach into their pocket and say, I want to give you this money. I believe in this. I mean, it's really huge. So I'm very, very, very grateful. So I think, yes? Yeah.
Oh. So my question was, do you have a percentage of off-island support versus on-island support? Because you do get a lot of contributions from people around the world.
I don't have the percentage with me today, but I can say that the increase I can say that the weekly donations have gone up a great deal. The weekly donations, Sunday service has gone up, like doubled this year. And it's not because of the amount of people that come, because what we find, it's not about the amount of people. This whole place could be filled, and then when we go to do our donation counting and everything, it's the same price as when there were 50 people here. So it's not about that. I believe it's about the consciousness. And I think that the consciousness in our center has increased, and therefore it's upped. So I would say that right now, probably just off the top of my head, that maybe about a third comes from off-island and 2/3 comes from on-island, including separate donations that come in from people that aren't here on Sundays that do it through PayPal and all that kind of stuff. I would say probably. I would have to get that figure to you. I can't say it's definite.
One of the things that we didn't note, but the pledges to date for
Thank you, that's what-
for 2018 is $100,000, which is significant. To have $100,000 of pledges, which means people have promised, the congregation has promised to give a minimum of that, and that was actually surprising to me. That
Yeah, that was a big
'cause
number.
and that
I have to
has
say.
increased significantly, because this is only the third year, I think, that we've asked for pledges.
Right.
Yeah.
And about the off-island, it's really important to know, because a lot of people didn't know that when we first started that we're not supported by like endowments or anything. These are people that have either been here or watched us leave, 5 years ago, and they're dedicated and committed to the growth of CSL Kauai. We have a gentleman that has never been here. We have many that have never been here, but they like what we're doing. They love what we're doing, and they want to support that. But what I'm pleased about is we also don't want, for me, to be, dependent on an off-island source, right? Because then you start throwing your stuff in whatever, But what I'm knowing is that I've been watching it, that we want to be sustainable here, and it is starting to get where the people, as we grow, we will sustain there. I mean, I appreciate the off-island, but we wouldn't want to depend on that, would we? Because that would mean that where would we go? What would we do? So that's when that's when principle comes in. This is when principle comes in, because if I remember somebody who was an entrepreneur looked at Rita and I remember them saying, this doesn't make any sense. This just doesn't make sense. What's your model? What's your model? And I looked over at Rita, and Rita looked at me, and I said, I guess Spirit's the model I've been using. Because everyone wants to say, if you follow this model, and they even said at a board meeting at one of these annual meetings, they said, I've never seen anybody not have a model. We have one that CSL puts out, that how to do, but it doesn't work here. Kauai is its own model. Trust me. Trust me. It has its own model, and obviously it works. And it continues to grow. So someday maybe we'll be the model for other people to follow, right? And our book.
But everybody has their own model. I really believe that. And I don't think you cannot necessarily go by statistics, because what is statistics? It's based in the past, and they can get really discouraging, whether it's about illness or anything else. I don't believe in statistics. I try to stay away. It's like prognosis, right? So, let's see. Yeah, I think we're ready for questions and answers, okay? And, we're ready for questions and answers. But we want to start, what? No, they can speak out loud. But what I want to know is we want to talk, before we start, and we don't want to get into a big discussion about this because it's not that important, but we want to address the dog issue, okay? Because we've had some people come to us and talk about it. And what we know about being leaders in an organization is if somebody's talking to you, there's probably about at least several percentages back there that are not talking to you, but they're talking about it. So we want to address it. And we, at this point, have come up with this decision about it. You want to tell them?
Well, no, but one thing I do want to say, no, I don't. No, it's not about that.
You want to tell them?
I want to bring up. I want to bring up how we're feeling about it. I come from a place that it must be win-win. It doesn't work for me, just personally, that someone says, I don't like that, get rid of it. Just so you'll know where I come from in my viewpoint. Because when we start doing that, and not looking for solutions, and not looking for balance, and not looking for alignment, then that means that people can say they don't like a lot of things. Get rid of that. Get rid of this. Get rid of that.
Get rid of them.
Get rid of them. No.
So what we came up with is this to start. This is where we're going to start, and we're going to know that people are mature enough to take that into account. That if you have a dog, it has to be on a leash. It has to stay in one place. And we would ask that you sit on an aisle seat or that you sit toward the back so that you're not disturbing. And we would like that it was a small dog. We were just in a restaurant the other day, and we asked the guy what he did about it, because there was a dog there. We're like, he says, I always just say, only small dogs, and you have to stay in the same place. It was all the things that we were talking about. So I think what we're going to ask people, too, is to be conscious of, do you need your dog here? We're not going to go into papers yet. Okay, we're not going to go into papers and who has papers and who doesn't. That's another story. Okay, but I just know that people will be respectful. And we didn't even realize that it had gotten that out of hand, but one Sunday it was really out of hand. And it shouldn't be that way. We should be here and we should all live together. This is a small space, right? And yeah, so
And-
that's what we've decided.
And we've also been able to go to certain people. I mean, certain people, and well, first of all, I'm going to go back to the hotel. I was in complete shock. I didn't know that dogs came into things because I'd never experienced it. I didn't know about service dogs versus this, and I knew nothing of that. So when we were at the hotel, they used to come in every Sunday, give me the papers, where's the papers? And so I went, papers? And it's for service, that it's for service. But I've also spoken with a lot of people that bring their dogs out of convenience. And that is very different. And we're speaking to them personally as well. There's a difference between, I just need my dog because it's easier to bring him here than leave him at home. That's not, we want to go shy away from that. What we want to know is if there's a dog on your lap, that it is absolutely necessary for your well-being, but there has to be some boundaries and some parameters, because I know a lot of people are talking behind our back. Go ahead.
I'm going to put a mic to you when you talk so it's picked up.
I have no problem really with the dogs, but it would be great if they could mute the tags. Because the tags, they have tags, the dog tags, they jingle, 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 all during the thing. And
Tags.
it's annoying. And also maybe, I know like some churches just have like animal Sundays where they bless the animals. Maybe instead of for people to bring it for convenience, have it like maybe every quarter, have an animal Sunday that people could bring their dogs and whatever.
Write that one down. Okay. All right. So questions and answers, and let's try not to spend too much time with the dogs. Okay.
We are working on it.
This
That's
is
the most
dog
important
thing again. This is the dog thing again. It's just, I guess it's not only if they could have them on leashes, but if they could kind of keep them by them, because I've been licked by dogs here, and I mean, I guess if you're a dog owner, it's okay, but it was kind of shocking.
Okay. Yes, Judah?
Let's get it all out.
Totally different
No
subject.
licking.
Okay, good. Judah has a different question.
With the vision toward being able to establish a different location,
Yes.
there are a lot of people that I have talked to in the last 3 months who would love to use this facility for personal growth and other kinds of spiritual activities. We could have a major income stream towards being able to relocate if you would be willing to start renting out the space selectively. No, not necessarily to members.
I'm going to tell you
but
where
to people who match the
I-
values and
It's a very valuable suggestion. It's been suggested a lot. I am not in the rental business personally. We have experienced it from our past, and I know it could be different.
In two centers.
In two centers that Rita and I promised one another that if we ever had the ability to run a center, that it would not be a rental center, because it was an absolute, in the world of form, nightmare. Nightmare. And people wanted to wheel and deal and put 50 in your pocket, and there was no organization. Where we're at with that anything that CSL Kauai presents, we've done concerts, we've done lots of things with people that aren't even members here, and that's fine. It is an absolute nightmare, and it would take somebody really sitting down with me personally, and not only that, but the board, to tell me how that could work without me having to open up doors and have people, even you can even tell by me talking about it, I'm losing my breath. Because you, unless you're here 24/7 out of that, it's a lovely idea, and we actually have opened it up to groups that needed it, like parents of PFLAG and stuff like that. We wanted to, but book clubs, all of that stuff is not where I believe we're at. So
Even AA.
go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, of course. you
Doesn't
can.
mean I'm tossing
doesn't
it
mean we're
out. I'm just
tossing it
letting you
out.
know where I'm at.
here's where the idea comes from. When I was on the board of the Spiritual Science Church in Denver, we very selectively did it. The requirement was there always had to be somebody from the church there for the event. But we made sure that we only did things that were spiritually oriented. It wasn't just commercial. It had to be spiritually oriented or personal growth oriented, and had to be in alignment with what the principles were.
Yeah, I agree.
And with that caveat, it became a very positive influence, helped establish the church in the community, and raised tremendous amounts of money for them to be able to do the things that they needed to do. So that's where it comes from for me.
Yeah, and
I
thank
don't
you.
see it as a
I like
negative.
to
I
see.
it
I
very
like.
well
I
actually
like to
blessing.
hear it as a positive,
Yeah,
and
no.
I understand that. But and not a but there is truth to that. But I'll give you an example, and then we can move on from that. Course of Miracles have wanted to come and do. We love Course of Miracles. We think it's wonderful, but it's not going to be in here, because it is confusing. I want to just. I know that when you're not running it 7 days a week, it's not in your head. This science of mind and spirit has confused a lot of people just without having anybody in here. But the minute you start saying, I'm over at CSL Kauai, then, and I understand that, then people go, oh, that's really good. There is that Course of Miracles, and we're going to have Abraham Hicks book club, and we're going to have this, and we love all of that, and they are aligned. But anyway, so those are some of the things that we think about.
Well,
when
and
we go to do
also
it.
it would take manpower to do that, and
Absolutely.
I don't know that we have the manpower right now. But it's worth revisiting
I
again.
think so.
And looking at a way that might work, you know. But right now, it would for me it would take a person taking charge of that for us and being the rental, person. And all of that, and then, so it's something that we would have to revisit again with our board of trustees and look and see if it's worth,
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
it's going to be worth the financial gain or the community.
And to get me a breathing mechanism that I can put on my.
No, I wasn't volunteering for that. No, I just wanted to mention that because we are renting this space, I'm not sure that we can sublet. And so, when we have our own space, I think it might be a time to revisit that question.
I don't know about that.
Melissa's
but,
on,
I don't know. Yes,
on deck.
Melissa.
And Jack?
Can you talk about the aging to saging program? I mean, more details.
Well, we don't have it totally in place yet, and we haven't even read the book. But what we understand, about
By
it,
God, we're going to do it.
what we understand about it, and what we've seen. Like I just went to visit my mother in an assisted living place. But what we want to do with this is to help people and assist people in knowing that just because they're getting older doesn't mean they have to give up on life, doesn't mean that they have to live their life this way, that to find within them that creative spirit, that thing within them which sings and sings that's eternal, that it might shift and change, but that they have a place where they can express themselves as they get older, and to help us understand what it means to get older. Like, what does that mean?
And
to
to
thrive while we're
celebrate,
getting to
celebrate it.
celebrate instead
Yeah.
of looking at I'm getting another wrinkle on my face, or I'm having a hip replacement. I mean, it's more than that, right? So it's going to be more that kind of thing. But I can't tell you exactly what it's going to be, but I know it's going to be great.
And we want to celebrate that and also that whole idea of elders. This is the
Yeah,
perfect
elders.
island, by the way, to do it, because we've had many people say, why can't we have like a community that blends with the youth and everything? The only problem that I have with all of the suggestions, that they didn't want a man that they wanted me to do it, or they wanted we have to really be careful of that. Ideas are great, but execution is that.
Anyway,
is
we'll be
next.
working on
Yeah,
that.
we'll work on that.
We hope that we'll have it birthed by the summer.
Oh, Jack, did we forget you? I'm sorry.
Wait, you didn't hear what Judith said. He said he could help with that.
I'm an elder in other communities.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I'm trained in aging by saging by Zalman, and I did the class twice, and I went to different retreats. It's really about legacy. It's really about getting your act together with your documents. It's about being willing to go out and volunteer in the community at some level, and it was very valuable. Now, there's two problems. Number one, I don't have my notes anymore, and I do not have total memory. And number two, when I did the classes, you had to go out and develop sites to teach, like go out to nursing homes and all of these different places. And so I traveled so much that I was never anywhere long enough to do any of that. So now I think I'm here for a long time. Anyway, it is a very valuable, organized system of documents and exercises and so on. And so it does run as a class.
So on another one about
Probably add our science of mind spin to it. So
well, and also we're seeing it too. Yes, exactly. Thank you that you actually knew about that.
I'm glad
But
we'll
we're
talk to you.
seeing it in another way too, to blend it more organically. so that people can, we can kind of start our own thing based upon, we're using aging to saging because somebody sent us the book, and I'm so glad I can talk to you about that with your notes.
Okay, Jack.
A different question. I wondered if music was listed as an expense item, what category it was in, and how the musicians were chosen.
Okay, so music is listed, are you talking about personnel, how they're paid?
Yeah, I didn't see it listed as an expense. I wondered
Because it's listed as a personnel. I think I said it, but I probably didn't say it loud enough. That includes the music people. And how are they chosen? They come to us. We interview them. They play for us. We talk about what kind of music they play. We see if it fits with what we're doing. And that's basically it. And whether they're willing to work for what we can pay them. And then, yeah. That's basically how it's done.
Which I think
and
is
we're always willing to see another musician, but we're very loyal, okay? So, for instance, like if somebody leaves us and then all of a sudden they come back and they're wondering where the job is, well, we already have somebody. So we're not going to kick somebody out and then bring that person in because we're just loyal that way. And I don't know, it's I don't know.
We've been actually.
Feels good to me.
We've actually been in shock, at least I have musically, because we come from the mainland, as you well know. You can have music anytime you want it, anywhere. I thought when I got here, we thought, oh my God, they're going to be banging down the door. We won't even be able to choose from it. That was not the case, by the way. It has always been. But we've always been so blessed by who we've had come in. But there isn't a long line waiting out the door to come in here to do it. I was so surprised because I was getting people to come in. They were like, a little early. I don't really want it. I was like, wow. Because in LA, it's just like people come to your door with a guitar, Hi, anybody get sick today? Because they want to play, and there's so much. So I'm like so surprised. I'm like so surprised here. So we do have some choices. We have beautiful musicians all over, and we like to incorporate. So yes, if somebody has music and they want, but it takes a special music. By the way, it takes a special person to be able to do this.
Do congregational
congregational stuff.
Sometimes we hit it, sometimes we don't. We're like we're working on it still, And we want to incorporate more New Thought music. Like I love the song Barbara sang today because it was that one about the moment. Yeah, it was like I think she actually got it out of the New Thought book. So, that's how we choose it, basically.
Yep. And we've only had one time where we had to use canned music. And only once. And that's because Jeevan
was
sick in the morning and called and he said, I can't make it down. And then we have a background, so I was like, plug in the canned music. But I know people who have been using canned music for 10 years in their centers. And I'm like, we never did that. So there we go. We're very blessed.
Okay, more questions.
We have one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, question or an idea.
Okay. All right. Regarding getting more teens and children into the center, I think what you're offering in the way of theater to our teens and the young people on this island is really important, really needed. So, you know about Hale'opio and Boys and Girls Club. I know you don't have the time to go and volunteer in those organizations, but there's a need. If we have people in our group who are willing to be volunteers in those organizations, then you're going to have a foot in the door and to get more kids and more teens here. Or maybe you'd want to go there and teach then if they put something together. I don't know what
Well,
time
we did it
is.
for Pu'ukumu School. We did it for them.
But Hale'opio, I think, is an amazing organization for teens. And then the Boys and Girls Club.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think people understand the severity in the world of form of our teens, what they're going through on this island. Suicide is just incredible. So I have to know that maybe, I do know, that we just keep putting it out there and we keep making ourselves, sometimes we just have to just keep making ourselves, allowing ourselves to be here, letting the door be open, and eventually, like look what's happening with the little ones now. I mean, 9-year-olds, and they're starting to come in. And you're right, theater is the answer to a lot of their expression because they don't think they're being themselves. And the whole time, Rita and I have experienced, that's why we want to do flying solo for the kids too, for the teens, because it's so powerful to take a snippet as people out of your life and explore that for 6 to 8 weeks or whatever, and then present it, because what they're thinking is that it's not them, I'm just doing an acting job. But the whole time they're pulling themselves up with it, so it's very cool.
Reverend Suzanne. Here, use this.
Is there a thought about the future of the youth activities here? In other words, part of the problem, or there's not a problem, but part of the solution would be to create more spaces for the children and the youth to meet in. Is there any thought about that?
Yes,
about creating space?
Thank you, Suzanne, because we really have thought of that. Unfortunately, we have our kitchen, and I think it's great to start where you are. But at one time there was a little space in the back open. The other thing, are you talking about on Sundays, right? Yeah.
We are thinking of. We have been wanting to buy a tent.
Rita wants to build.
I want to build a
out
tent.
there.
And that was one of the things we were going to do this year. Well, I didn't mention it, and Janice was all for it. She thought it was a really good idea, and she said, "I can think of all ways." And then it has to be mounted every Sunday and then taken down every Sunday too.
And approved by
the thing.
the
So we're
laws
working
that
on
be-
that. But yeah, I agree, because, nature abhors the vacuum, and the kitchen's getting very full now. And I knew when we were at the hotel, I was like, the attendance started to dwindle because we were reaching capacity in that room. And as soon as we moved, more people came. So
Right.
I'm not sure about the answer yet, but
I think it needs to be really
thought of.
visioned out to make that happen.
Maybe part of our visioning when we do it. Yeah, thank you.
I'm surprised the kids are even like going, "Oh, the kitchen's fine," because it's not exactly.
Well, I saw the kids that came out today, and I was like, whoa, they were all
Who
back
was
there.
all in there?
How'd
They
you
were sitting
handle
on the
that, George?
refrigerator. Okay, so yeah, thank you, Suzanne. We absolutely need to do that. Okay. Let's see it.
let's-
Yeah, absolutely. Because it could happen in any way, right? Like we were looking at the little one in the back, room that opened up. That could even become their place. The other thing we have about still being here is the noise.
It's
That's
okay
the
on
thing.
Sundays.
It's okay on Sundays and Saturdays and whatever, but that's the other thing about during the week we're concerned, because if you start doing drumming or whatever, we'll be having them knocking on the door going.
Yeah, we have a noise gag order on us that we
do.
can't make noise until 6:30 at night. So
I mean,
when
they
noise,
bend-
they say
they bend.
music. But so we're going to see how this kids program goes, because we're going to have kids in here on Friday afternoons at 4:00. But
3:30.
and if we do anything musical with them or drumming, we're going to have to take them out over there.
Which is okay.
otherwise. But otherwise, I don't think it'll be a problem. But yeah.
There you go.
What else?
Okay. Tony.
Tony.
Thank you for staying. Oh, you're welcome. Just checking back in with Judah's idea. I would be willing to help and volunteer and support in any way to have classes, if that comes to where you consider it. And then the other thing that I wanted to get clarity on is, I'm so happy to hear that there's a third of income coming from off the island, but when I watch you online, when I'm not here, I don't see a way or a how to make a donation.
Thank you.
Could you clarify that for me?
That's another breathing thing I have.
Yeah, no, it is something we are working on, and I know it's very simple, and that we will figure it out.
Won't we, Rob?
And Rob is totally self-taught, and I want to give him a lot of thanks for that,
Yes,
because he
yes.
never live streamed until he did that. But yeah, so it's a matter of getting a donation button on there, and we are working on it. But thank you for
so-
bringing it up.
You have to thank us. It's we're so transparent here. I'll let you know how I talk to Rita. I go, Rita, what's with the? I mean, it's just a donate. Everybody has a donate button. Why don't we have a donate? And I'm thinking, oh no,
Rob
because
isn't
then I
doing
call
this
everybody else and I
full-time.
go, we have a donate button. We have a donate. And I'm like getting all insecure, going, we're the only people that don't have a donate button. And that people are saying that they're watching it and not being able to, Exactly.
Go to PayPal. They probably have something you could just download easily. It's like,
Yeah, it's something to do with Ustream and YouTube, and I don't know.
Yes.
but- Yeah.
Right. No. They're talking about the live stream. Yeah.
But you have to get to the Ustream from the website.
Right.
So you can make a donation from the website.
Yeah. It's too
Right.
complicated.
I get you.
Go back.
Because you get like inspired. You go, oh
Wait,
my
okay,
God, look what
everybody's talking
Patrick
at
just said.
once.
No,
Kaya
I'm
has
kidding.
something to say. I want us to not talk over each other.
Psychological.
Okay. Oh my gosh, donate
Thank you,
buttons.
Tony.
I was just thinking you can announce perhaps during service, during the donation period. If you are watching from live stream, thank you so much. We're so excited you're here. If you'd like to make a donation at this time, please go back to our website. And then at least you give them, right? Yeah. At least in the meantime.
It's a start. It puts the consciousness out there.
I'll wear a blinking. I'm your donate button. Blink, ding, ding.
Right down. Donate button.
All right.
Okay, what else?
We're doing good. It looks like we're going to.
Okay.
One other thing.
And you can always talk to us. We're very accessible, you know.
I am working on improving my meditation abilities. Okay, I have been working on it a long time. I think my mind is actually very active. I have a lot of monkeys. And I know a lot of other people who are wanting some information about meditation. I think it would be great if we have a meditation class series, and then when we do the meditation on Sundays, the seed thought's great. I love that. But a lot of people need more than that. Otherwise, your mind just starts doing what it normally does. Anyway, I have to work on it.
I like that. Thank you. And if you can come, you'll be doing your group Wednesday, but we are going to start putting meditation more into our curriculum and into our, and even have meditations during the day. And Deborah is good at the guided meditations, which I think you're thinking more of. The one that, and Reverend Diane does them. Reverend Diane taught a wonderful workshop on meditation that maybe we can do again. Not very many people came to it, which is surprising because people sometimes say they want it and then nobody shows up, and that's not about anything besides we're all busy. But yeah, I think as we start maybe doing something every month about meditation, that it'll start to help people that really want to do it more because it's so important. Meditation is one thing that's so important.
I think my question was answered when Anna said, how can we make it so that, I think more than a seed thought, was it more of a guidance you're asking? Because as each practitioner goes up and does a meditation every Sunday, what more is that what you're asking for? More guidance into it? Because some people don't like so much guidance, and so they're...
Yeah, it's a call with it.
Yes, but so many people come into our philosophy not having any knowledge about meditation.
Right.
This is brand new.
Yes,
Right.
okay.
Yeah, I
That's
get you.
all.
I think we're going to relook at it with our practitioners at our next meeting and
Yeah,
see how we can
I agree.
maybe improve it.
And also, I think that you're talking to, you want to be a little more settled into your, really create the atmosphere is what I'm also
And
hearing.
I've seen that done in other centers where it's more guided, not necessarily walking down a flowery path and going, and talking to your inner self, but just more. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Goodbye, Melissa.
Yeah.
Bye. Aloha.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Thank you.
So I think that
Anybody
unless you
else?
have any other questions, or then we will. I just want to say thank you for being here because it really means a lot. And this isn't anything about, but we have a family here, and I'm so glad everybody's here. But I know that there'll be a day that we have our annual meeting, and everyone will be here that has an interest in this center, because at the end of the day, it's our center. It is our center, and without us all, this will not grow, and it already is growing. So I just want to say thank you for taking that time to invest in us, not just with finances, but just with your absolute love for this place. So thank
and
you.
I also want to thank all the people that volunteer in this center,
Yes,
starting with our
absolutely.
board of trustees and Reverend Diane and all the people that volunteer here and help us because it's as good as we make it. It's going to grow at the level of our consciousness and of our giving and receiving. And this will, I never worry about the money for that. I only just go, we're reaching critical mass. What do we need to do as collectively? What do Patrick and I need to do? And then what do we need to do collectively for that? Is that where we want to go next? That's why I think having this visioning together will be really helpful. So we'll make sure we put that on the calendars very soon.
And just two last things. I know that it has been suggested, I didn't bring it up here, they said, well, if we get really a lot, on a Sunday, it starts to be 150, let's say, are you going to go to a second service? Here's what I feel, just personally, about a second service. My breathing again. No, I don't mind the idea. Many of the places we've had, they don't usually work unless you're at Mile High where you have 10,000 people. What that does for me is it divides our family. And so it really is an emotional thing for me, because you start dividing times up, then people will say, I'm coming here, and then we lose, for me, this thing that we are creating as a synergy, as a one. So right now, I understand, because they said, well, what are you going to do? My buddy who owned Gold Gyms, he said, until their noses are up against the window going, what are they all doing in there? Then we're okay. We'll make it work. We don't want to stop the growth. We don't want to stop the growth, but we also don't want to stop the family that we're absolutely.
And if it comes to that point, a lot of centers have obviously more than one service. We'll know when that right time is.
Absolutely.
And we'll all say, oh yeah, we're ready for it now, because it takes a lot more energy.
And the
too.
idea of another time, I just want to address what I feel about another time. I'm breathing fine now about that. But when we moved over here, the general public, people that came here, said we're kind of used to 9 o'clock. We got the rest of our day. We're kind of doing it. This is what I've learned about switching times on anything, whether it be meetings or anything else. This place is designed for you and for your growth, for your self-awareness, whatever it is for you personally. It doesn't matter. For me, my experience has been, if it's at 7 a.m., which don't get alarmed, 7 a.m., if you really want that for yourself, you'll be here. So I know for a fact, because we've tested it, not here, but in other places, you put it at another time, not any more people come. Because you're coming for you, or you're coming for whatever reason, but at the end of the day, it's all about you. And so with the reason we have it at this time, by the way, it was the only time that the Aloha Aston could give us, because there was another church going on. So we would have started at 10 o'clock, would have been our thing. But now that we've been in bed with 9 a.m., it's working out just fine. And if it's too tiring, then we always have our beautiful online with a donate button. So anyway, I just wanted to address that, because several people have said, have you thought of having two, or have you thought at another time? And there it is. Yes, last.
Adara, hold on. I need to give you a mic.
And then I promise that we'll pray out.
It's okay.
Well, it just occurred to me that one way to integrate sometimes teens would be like a Thursday night or a Wednesday, a time that's completely different, not a split the congregation, but another opportunity in the week, and then after a work time, after school time, when it's possible, for teens to show up. And for people, that's what I was.
That is actually what we offered.
Yeah, we offered that.
And the phone didn't ring once, so
yeah,
it might be
for the teens.
For
Yeah,
the
we
teens,
yeah.
but only for the
other.
teens. We actually offered that. It was going to be on, I don't remember what afternoon, but it was going to be afternoon after school.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was thinking maybe it could be non-teen specific, but just be at a different time, and then it might draw a different crowd, maybe, and be more inclusive to teens because of their scheduling. When I was a teen, it was hard to get up in the morning and make it anywhere. So.
Okay, good. We'll put that on the list as well.
We'll put it on the list.
And I know that the Marion and Glenn, they travel a lot to CSLs all around their times that they're not here, and we are very special here, as Glenn and Marion have said they've been to many, and it's not about putting anything else down. It's just that we are kind of a unique, yeah? Yeah. Something unique is going, oh, yeah.
We probably went to 10 CSLs in 2017. Yeah. Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Lafayette, Colorado, Loveland, Colorado, Florida, South Florida, Fort Lauderdale. I mean, we've been to a lot of different CSLs. Dallas, right? So each one is unique, and none of them for us compare to what we have here. None of them. And it's not that we're not looking for it, because we are. We are looking for it. That's why we keep going. Why? Well, some people and some of the ministers preach, for example. One of the things I love about Rita and Patrick is they share what they're learning. It's an opening for me to step into and go, oh, yeah, instead of feeling this. Now, let me say that one that I'm thinking of right now has 200 or 300 people in it. So the people like the person who's on the stage performing, which is how it felt to us, like real performance. Then there's lovely people we really like, who have 3 people who show up every week. And I have no idea why. Or 5 people when we're there. You know? And so there's just such a huge variety of what we discover. And then there's new people, young, not a lot of life experience yet, who are in the front of the room. There's some where the music is unbelievable, and that's why I think people go to that particular one, because the music is like jazz band playing most of the time, but where's the message? I mean, there's just such a variety. I love this center.
I think that was the point that I made about it, is that even though we're practicing the same science of mind and spirit, it doesn't mean that it's presented the same.
And also, everybody resonates to something different, and I think that's different ministers. You resonate to different ministers. I mean, you just resonate to different communities. I think that's part of life too, right?
There you go.
And
Are you going to be the final word?
We've had people leave here because they don't resonate. So yes.
No, I was going to say one distinction, for me at least, is that every center we've been to, and almost all of the centers on the mainland, were all Church of Religious Science that converted or adopted or moved into centers for spiritual living. Here in Kauai, we were never a church. And in the Church of Religious Science, there was more, I don't know, dogma, how do I call it dogma?
Ritual,
but
maybe.
Ritual. They have their rituals of the Church of Religious Science, which are beautiful in their communities. And in our community, we've always been a center for spiritual living. Small, but I think very important distinction.
Just one more thing, because I know we have a former minister of unity here, is that possibly the center that we enjoyed the most is a center where 2 CSLs and a unity came together. And they call themselves New Thought Colorado, or New Thought Northern Colorado, NOCO. And it's really quite beautiful, the blend, their library, the respect. It's kind of like a little mini, this is the way you want the world to be.
Yeah. I heard something. I'm going to look, maybe, Reverend Diane, yeah, that Unity and Center for Spiritual Living were trying to work together more. Yeah. Because they're very similar. The only really big difference is Unity can be a little more Bible-based than this, but who cares? I mean, but what we believe basically is the same. All right. Yeah, that's true, right? And you were one of our first members. Right, yeah. Okay. Are we ready to close out? Okay, so just get comfortable in your chairs. Close your eyes if you feel that that's good for you. I love to close my eyes just because it just centers me a little more, and I like to be centered when I speak my word. I like to go to that deep place within me where I know that God, spirit, life is all there is. That's all there is, that power and presence. And we live and move and have our being in that power and presence at all times. There's nothing else. And I know and claim that everything that has happened today in this meeting has been filled with that divine presence and is coming from that place and goes forth from that place. And that this CSL Kauai is a manifestation in the mind of God. That's what it is. It has a life that we live in and breathe in, and it breathes and lives in us. There's no separation. So I know that as each of us is that power and presence, and that CSL Kauai is also a manifestation of that power and presence, that it is good and that it continues to prosper and thrive and grow and change lives and assist all of us as we are on this journey of life. And that each of us is able to give what is ours to give here and receive what is ours to receive and take what we gain from this center and bring it out into our life and enrich our lives and make our lives powerful and beautiful and everything that they are already, because that's what God does. God expresses in his creative. So I know that everything we've spoken about here today is good, and that we continue to thrive and prosper and grow and expand, and that we do that individually and collectively for this planet and lift the consciousness of this planet. Knowing this all is truth, I give great thanks for being here today, for the manifestation of my word, and for each and every person here. And I just breathe into that gratitude and just release this word affirming together. And so it is.
I just have to say this is thank you, mahalo,
Oh,
for creating such a beautiful place to be.
thank you. Thank you.
Also, I would like to thank the board of directors.
Yes.
Having worked with boards before, it takes so much time, effort, and responsibility, but it also takes love. So I know that's your reward. But thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Yay, yay, yay.
What?
I thought I...
We're the only center where the ministers or our leaders are barefoot. Of any place we ever go, we're the only barefoot ministers. Woohoo!